All right, welcome. Today we're going to talk about a skill that seriously can take you from that pre-finals panic mode to having a legit career superpower. I'm talking about planning. So let's dive in.
You know that feeling, right? You're just staring at this massive to-do list or this huge group project, and you have no clue where to even begin. It's just completely overwhelming. Just kind of hold on to that feeling for a second.
Okay, now let's take that feeling and just scale it up, like way up. Forget your exam schedule for a minute. You're now in charge of planning the single most chaotic shopping day of the entire year for one of the biggest companies on the planet. The stakes? They're insane. One tiny mistake could mean empty shelves, mobs of angry customers, and literally millions of dollars down the drain. That right there is the power and the pressure of planning.
So how do managers at a place like Walmart prevent that absolute chaos before it even starts? Well, they use the most fundamental tool any manager has: planning. It's their first and best line of defense.
So let's be clear, this is way more than just making a to-do list. At its core, real planning is a whole system. It's all about figuring out the answers to two huge questions. First, where are we trying to go? And second, what is the exact step-by-step roadmap that's going to get us there?
So why even bother with all this? Is it just busy work? No way. The payoff is huge. Good planning lets you see problems coming a mile away. It gets your whole team rowing in the same direction. And it forces you to look up from what's on fire today and think about tomorrow. It's what separates the pros from the amateurs. Okay, so if you're the manager, what does this planning stuff actually look like? Well, it's not just one thing. A better way to think about it is like a toolkit, full of different tools for different jobs. Let's crack it open and see what we've got.
So the two main trays in our toolkit are standing plans and single-use plans. Standing plans are for all the stuff you do over and over and over again, your day-to-day, your standard operating procedures. Single-use plans are your special blueprints, the ones you create for a one-time only event, like launching a brand new product or, surviving a Black Friday sale.
All right, let's pull out our first tool from the standing plans tray. This is the policy. Now, a policy isn't a command. Think of it more like a compass. It just gives everyone broad guidelines, pointing them in the right general direction.
And this is a perfect example. Notice it doesn't say how to recruit or what questions to ask. It just sets the guiding principle. We want the best people. This gives managers the freedom to figure out the details, while still making sure everyone's aiming for the same high standard.
Okay, next tool. If a policy is the what, then a procedure is the how. This is the detailed step-by-step instruction manual for a specific, recurring task. It gets much more nitty-gritty than a policy.
And check out this great real-world example. Apple has a broad policy to be environmentally friendly. This specific procedure is how they actually do it on the factory floor, outlining the exact steps to get rid of harmful chemicals. See how the procedure brings the policy to life?
And the last tool in this section is the rule. This one is super straightforward. It's rigid, it's absolute, and there is zero room for interpretation. It simply tells you what to do or what not to do. End of story. I mean, does it get any clearer than this? No smoking area. There's no debate, no discussion. It's a direct command, and it supports a broader policy of health and safety. So you see, policy, procedure, and rule, they all work together as a system. So we know the types of plans, but how do we actually make one from scratch? Well, guess what? There's a process for that too. A 6-step game plan that you can use for literally anything, from crushing that final exam to, yes, planning Walmart's Black Friday.
And here is that roadmap, the 6-step planning process. You start with step 1, knowing your goal. Then you brainstorm different ways to get there. You make some educated guesses about the future. You pick the best path. You build out the detailed plan. And then, the part everyone forgets, you actually do it. Now, I want to zoom in on one of these steps that is so critical.
Let's talk about step 3, develop premises. A premise is just a fancy word for an assumption you make about the future. For Walmart's Black Friday plan, a huge premise might be, we assume Amazon is going to match all of our doorbuster deals, right? If you assume that, your entire plan for advertising and pricing has to change. Getting your assumptions right is everything.
So remember step 1 of that whole process? State your objectives. Well, what even is an objective? Every single good plan needs a clear destination, a big target on the wall. Let's really zero in on that. Here's the most important thing to get. An objective is not just some random goal you pull out of thin air. A true organizational objective is a specific target that directly supports the company's bigger purpose, its mission.
Everything the company does should be pushing toward these targets. Just take a look at these. Nike's mission isn't sell $1 billion in shoes, it's to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete. That's huge. And from that mission, they can create specific objectives, like launching a new basketball shoe or sponsoring a major marathon. The mission is the why, the objectives are the what.
And of course, these targets aren't all the same. Companies plan across different time horizons. You've got your short-term objectives, stuff for this year, your intermediate goals for the next 1 to 5 years, and then your long-term big-picture vision for where you want to be 5, even 7 years from now.
Okay, so this is all great for a giant company like Walmart or Nike. But let's bring this all back home, back to you. Why does any of this matter for that project due next week, or more importantly, for your career after you graduate? Because this isn't just a business theory, it is a personal superpower.
I mean, this quote says it all, doesn't it? The ability to actually plan, to set a clear goal for yourself, whether that's acing a class or landing your dream internship, and then to build a step-by-step path to get there, that is one of the most valuable skills you will ever develop, period.
So to help you get this right, here are some pro tips. Basically, these are the biggest traps that people fall into. And honestly, the biggest one is that last one. Failing to operate by the plan. It's so easy to make a beautiful plan and then just shove it in a drawer. You have to actually use it. Avoiding these traps will put you miles ahead of everyone else.
So look, you've got the tools from the toolkit, you have the 6-step process, you even know the major traps to avoid. The framework is exactly the same whether you're planning a multi-billion-dollar company or just planning to survive your finals week. So, the only question left is, what are you going to plan for first?